For Saeed Mirbaka, life in Afghanistan was once filled with promise, family, friends, and a future he could see clearly. But that future vanished virtually overnight when the Taliban seized control and the United States pulled out. Now resettled in Boise, Saeed is fighting to rebuild that future as a college student, a community member, and a refugee. But a shift in U.S. policy has put everything back into question.
I had to leave because my dad used to work with the U.S. government in early 2000, and my brother, and my mom was a teacher. And the second day when the Taliban took over, they kicked everyone out of the school and they closed the school doors, and they asked everyone to not show up again. If you show up, you'll see the consequences of that. And we were not feeling safe, and everything was so dark. We didn't know what's going to be tomorrow, and we had no choice just to leave everything behind.
Suddenly, Saeed and his family found themselves out of Afghanistan, here in Boise, Idaho.
The first 2 years, I had to go through a lot of challenges, like the cultural barriers, language barriers. Even though I graduated from high school back in home, I had to go to high school here again, and that helped me a lot. I used to go through a lot of challenges and loneliness, missing my friends and my home country. But I found a supportive community at the school here in my community. My neighbors were so supportive and helped me go through that.
Now, he's a student at Boise State with just a year left until he graduates. After finding all of this success, he said he felt blindsided by the Trump administration's move to revoke the temporary protected status of Afghan refugees and other similar programs that help people escape the Taliban by resettling in the United States.
For me, I feel it's so unfortunate and heartbroken to see how Afghanistan, like the community, have supported the U.S. military for over 2 decades, and they've promised that they're gonna protect their allies. I don't know how. I don't have a word to describe my feelings, like how exhausted I feel right now, and me supporting the community here, and I'm encouraging the community members to stand up and support those who are going through this rough time.
In 2022, a new way to escape the Taliban emerged, the Biden administration extending temporary protected status to people fleeing the country under Taliban rule, a move that prevents deportation and provides work permits. It's estimated about 9,600 Afghans in the U.S. are covered by TPS. Then, earlier this year, the Trump administration ended what had been a critical lifeline for Afghans fleeing the Taliban, a program called humanitarian parole used by thousands to escape during the U.S. withdrawal. And this month, another blow. The Trump administration declined to renew temporary protected status for Afghan refugees, leaving those already here and many waiting to come in limbo. For local veterans who fought in Afghanistan, these changes aren't just policy decisions, they feel like broken promises.
I can only speak for myself, but personally it makes me feel sick inside. These are individuals that went out in their own communities many times, had to face their neighbors, had to face people that considered them to be traitors because of the fact that they were helping the coalition forces establish a new Afghan government outside of the Taliban. And we promised them safety in return for providing us services that most soldiers or Marines could not do. To now that we feel for some reason that we don't need to honor that promise, it's a very hard thing for me to understand on an intellectual or even an emotional level.
In practice, the halting of parole programs and now temporary protected status closed the door for those looking to escape, with some having already secured papers to come to the United States.
Since January, it has been on pause. So people who have, it's often a years-long process to get approved for refugee resettlement, and most people that are eligible actually will never get to do so. But the people who can, they have to go through medical backgrounds, very thorough vetting, and it can take years, and then they get that approval to come. And so when it was abruptly halted in January, folks that had gone through that process, maybe some who were going to finally rejoin family in Idaho, it was just like a door slammed in their face.
For Payer, the implication of such a move, that the U.S. could turn its back on those that helped it in a time of war, makes him worry future allies will not be so trusting.
our legacy in a 20-year war is so complex that it takes it's going to take a lot of time to unpack what happened over there, and I don't want to even, claim that my small piece makes me an expert on, the war. But I will say that it does leave a mark on our legacy there, the fact that these are people that we gave our word to, that we would provide them shelter and safety from the reprisals of what happened when the government collapsed. So it does leave some very trepidatious possibilities coming into the future.
Parole for Afghan refugees was halted in January, and now temporary protected status is set to expire this month. Advocates say that without urgent action, thousands who risked everything to support the U.S. mission or who are simply trying to reunite with family could be left in danger.